Alright, our fifth and final scenario deals with just getting back to the basics of collaboration, and so showing how you can use wikis, conversations, and documents to collaborate with your peers. And essentially what we're trying to demonstrate here is that you can change the way you work using the platform, and also I'll highlight once again our SharePoint integration. But first, let's talk about the collaborative intents that we're going to highlight in these business scenarios. Some of them include accessing untapped people or expertise, pooling judgments, determining group-wide preferences, airing and debating multiple views, working flexibly, influencing views or norms, making better and more informed decisions by including employee feedback, and then also connecting previously unrelated ideas. So my first example is a German firm, Core Media. Core Media set up an internal social networking site and encouraged its employees to collectively steer the firm using tools such as wikis, workspaces, interest groups, and microblogging as part of their daily work routine. The result was open, bottom-up operations and processes with more informed, quality decision-making as well as an improvement in the pace of innovation. Core Media also attracted employees that would have been less engaged in a rigid corporate structure. My second example is Transportation Security Administration, or TSA. TSA provided a collaborative platform for employees to participate in decision making, and they started out with small topics and then elevated to sensitive topics such as restructuring the employee compensation plan. As a result, employees felt that their input was valued and that the organization had experienced bottom-up support as well as top-down. TSA also reported a greater trust and a stronger commitment from its employees. So now let me hop into the application so that I can demonstrate some of this functionality. We're going to start with looking at wikis. Now, first of all, we get the question quite often, what's the difference between a wiki and a conversation? So I'm going to show you this, but just to explain the difference, a conversation is something that if I post a conversation, no one can edit my original conversation. People can comment on my conversation. You can have a long chain of comments, but they can't go out and modify my original conversation. Now, a wiki is more of a collaborative document. So a wiki is something that I post, knowing full well that I want people to go out, edit, and modify that. So let me show you that in action. I have this project work plan and delivery schedule, and this is actually currently set up as a wiki. And just to note that on our platform we allow you to toggle between a conversation and a wiki fairly easily, and I'll demonstrate that. So here's my work plan, and again, this is a wiki. I can go out and edit this, but first let me show you some features here down at the bottom. As I mentioned, this wiki, I can comment on this wiki, so I can either edit the wiki and perhaps add rows to these tables or update my status, but I can also just make a comment. So as you can see here, I have one comment that's been made. You can also look at the versioning. The versioning here is pretty interesting with a wiki. I can go out and I can see how many versions have been out there and actually compare the versions and see what's changed. And if I want to, I can revert back to an old version. So this is kind of nice when you've got multiple people out there modifying your wiki in case you have some revisions that you don't want to keep. So as you can see, I can click compare, and what that does is that will highlight in this latest version 1.1 what has changed. It will highlight in green. And then I can also, as you can see, revert back to the original version if I'd like to. So just some nice editing features that we provide. Also, you'll notice here this rating system. I can go out, this is just a way for us to also go out and find things a little easier. So I can go out and say, hey, I want to find, I'm going to rate this 5-star, so I can go out and I can search for things and easily find things that have a high rating. And all you do to rate something is just click on the stars. Another feature that I have here is Tell a Friend. And Tell a Friend can be used on conversations, wikis, documents, and essentially what this does is very easily allows us to post something and then let people know that it's been posted. And this will actually send them an email. So let's say that I want to let Russell know that I've posted something. I can go out and find Russell and I can quickly tell him, hey, I just made updates to the project plan please check them out. And my email has been sent. So I've demonstrated versioning, I've demonstrated tell a friend, I've demonstrated how you can rate a conversation. Something else that I'd like to show you here is the favorites capability. Now this right now, I've already favorited this work plan so that I can easily find it. So I can quickly remove that as a favorite. And then, actually it'll have to, takes a second to update. So how about I'm going to go out and find another conversation. I'm going to favorite that. I'm going to show you how it shows up in the bookmarks. So for example, I said once again I'm going to highlight our SharePoint integration. So this is actually a conversation where I've embedded SharePoint documents that I want to collaborate with my group on. And what I can do is go down here and add to favorites so that I can easily find this at a later time. And it says my favorite has been added. Let's go back and refresh this and we should be able to see both now. So I can see that my SharePoint documents have now been added to my favorites, but also that I removed from my favorites the project plan. So that's just a nice way to be able to go out and find things really quickly. Now the last thing that I want to highlight in this scenario is I want to talk a little bit about our sharing model. So we've talked a lot about interest groups, and this meeting is also just another form of an interest group. But one of the things that we want to highlight is that you may have situations where, for example, let's say in the case of this NGE Corp that had the nGen and all these ideas came out of that. Let's say that we wanted to have this breakout session with our management team, and we want it to be private. So we've created this private closed interest group. So this is essentially by invitation only, and it's invisible to anyone else. So people don't even know that this interest group exists other than myself, who created the interest group, and the other people who I've invited to join. And there we can collaborate across different initiatives, and we can prioritize. And then when we feel that some of this content is at a point that we want to share it with a broader group of people, I created this private interest group. It's still private, and it's for employees only. So essentially what we've done is we've made this interest group open to employees. It's by invitation only. However, we've expanded this to a broader group of people. The next step of this is making it public and open. So let's say at this point we'd like to share this with, let's say that we have customers and partners that are members on our instance of the Collaboration Hub. We can create this public open interest group where anyone can join and anyone can view the content, and so eventually we can retag or post this content to be part of this public open interest group. So what we're demonstrating here is that our security model, we can lock things down at an individual level. We can share them with individuals. We can keep them private that only we can see them, but then we can also share them with various interest groups, and we can change the security on the interest groups. We can keep things locked down to employees only, and then we can also tag them so that they can be shared with partners or customers. So a pretty robust security model that we can leverage here. And that is my final example.